Hello everybody, it is a hot day here and I'm trying to film without any fans on or AC, so we'll see how long I survive. Pistachio is also very hot. You can see she's at her scruffiest. We couldn't get her into the groomer until later than we wanted. So I thought today we'd just do a quick Q&A. I asked you guys what you wanted to know about Havanese or puppies or puppy parenting, and I got a few good questions, so we're gonna go over those. And there's also a few questions that I see come up in comments a lot that I thought I'd include in this video as well. So hopefully it's informative to you. Okay, first question. When did you trim her coat for the first time? And do you have to wait until they've grown out of the puppy coat to give them a haircut? So we brought Pistachio to the groomer for the first time when she was like barely 4 months old. She might have been 3.5. She came to us already quite fluffy, and by the end of our first month with her, she was like a cotton ball. Like, she was just very, very fluffy. So we hadn't really chosen a groomer yet. We tried a place. We asked them what the requirements were because she wasn't fully vaccinated at that point, which was a calculated risk. This place didn't require any vaccinations for their dogs. So we brought her there and it was great to have her trimmed. So I'm glad she got the haircut, but it wasn't like the best experience. I just didn't really love the groomer that we went to. They gave her a very like rough cut and they said that she was being stubborn about the face. So she sort of had a lion's mane thing going on, and it was her first time getting groomed. Like, don't blame your dog for adjusting to a new experience like that. But when we tried the second groomer, a different groomer, we had a totally different, better experience, and she got an amazing trim. And they said they had no problems. As far as the puppy coat thing, I haven't really heard this too much. This might be a myth. The puppy coat is generally what people refer to as that really soft, downy fur that they have when you get them as a puppy, and that a lot of dogs seem to outgrow. You might find an adult Havanese feels a little bit rougher to the touch than a puppy. I'll be honest, I don't think Pistachio ever really outgrew her puppy coat. People remark all the time that she is so soft, and she really is still so soft. We have 3 other Havanese in my family, and all of them have a more curly, kind of rough coat in their adulthood. But our girl Pistachio is still out here, still soft as a feather. So I don't think this is something to wait on if you're thinking about trimming your dog. The only thing that you might experience is they're usually darker as puppies and they go lighter as an adult. So you might see your dog lightening with every trim. It's inevitable, so you don't really need to wait for that first haircut unless you want to. Next question. Can you do a video on command training? Yes, I've been wanting to do this. I'm working on one right now. As you might guess, a lot of these videos that I do require that I go back through all of my history of videos and photos of this little puppy before I knew that I'd be making YouTube videos like this. So it just takes some time. And sometimes I didn't capture the things as a puppy that would be so useful for content now. So just trying to make sure I have some good video examples for you guys. But yes, I will be doing a video on command training, and that should come out fairly soon, hopefully. Question 3. How do you train them to not bark? First, all dogs will bark. Your Havanese will bark as well. It is their way of communicating with you, the world. It's just something that dogs do. However, I do believe that you can train your dog not to be yappy, to not be a dog that is so triggered by everything going around them that they just make noise relentlessly without much purpose to it. My fast hacks for that would be 1, keep your response energy low. I think especially with Havanese, they kind of just want to let you know something's there. And sometimes when you acknowledge that you see the same thing as them, they might actually chill out a little bit. So a common thing when Pistachio barks is I'll just be like, we're okay. We're okay. And she seems to know that means like, mom sees it too. Phew. I'm not fully responsible for this incoming attack. But I also, when I say those things, I'm never matching her level of hype. So I also don't even raise my voice, so I won't be like, no. Like, that's not something that I will do. Because that kind of sounds like barking as well, and I worry that she'll misinterpret my tone. She speaks some English. At this stage, I swear this dog speaks some English. But like, we aren't really speaking the same language. So I just keep my energy low. Sometimes I'll just do a no. Mm-mm. And your dog will not get that immediately. As a puppy, they don't know your communication patterns enough to read that. They will over time though, I believe. Another thing we do is we remove the trigger after the first warning. I think it's kind of fun for dogs to bark at some things. So if they lose that fun, they're less inclined to bark and they might just view it quietly next time. This happens a lot with the window that Pistachio likes to sit by while we're working. We've gone through a few stages throughout her first year of when people walk behind our house, she'll alarm bark at them. And now, if she starts that and we say mm-mm or we say no, and she continues with it, we will just go over silently and we close the blinds. She loses her fixation with that thing. And it kind of bums her out because she likes to look out the window. That has helped a lot. So when you can, just remove the trigger after the first warning and you can reopen those blinds in like 5 minutes, but it's sort of a good way to let them know that the pack does not approve. And last but not least, when they see something that you know could be triggering and they're not reacting to it, affirm them. Either just verbally, like, good girl, good boy, whatever, or give them a treat. We've done that a lot. It's helped so much. Just changes their association with triggers from this is a threat to something more neutral or even positive. Okay. When do they start sleeping through the night? Oh man, the puppies are hard. Puppies are so hard. This answer will vary per the puppy. For us, I was looking back on like journal entries trying to figure out when we hacked this, because this was like the biggest stress for me with a puppy. And it felt like a million years, but actually it was about a month and a week after we got her that she was sleeping through the night. You build up to that. It definitely starts with more vocalization at night when they're adjusting and needing more potty breaks because they're small. But eventually, once you know that they have the capacity to hold their bladder a little bit longer, you wean them off those bathroom breaks and you give them a few minutes before letting them out of the crate for a bathroom break if they are whining, just to see if they're whining because they're, ready to come out, they're bored, they miss you, whatever, or if they actually have to use the bathroom. And also, when you do let them out to use the bathroom in the middle of the night, don't talk to them. Don't make it fun. Like, this isn't supposed to be a fun experience. We don't want them to look forward to that. And eventually, it just becomes so much more enjoyable to sleep through the night. So yeah, around a month for us, she was sleeping through the night. She continues to sleep through the night. We've always crated her at nighttime, and I think that has helped her understand what that range of time is and that that's just a time for relaxation for our whole family. Next question. Can I work 8 hours in the office 5 days a week with a Havanese? Probably a lot of you have heard this concern that Havanese are Velcro dogs and they can have high degrees of separation anxiety, which makes it a hard breed for someone to own who is not home all that often. Before I say anything, I just want to remind you that lots of dogs do this. Havanese included, I'm sure. Like, for many, many generations of humanity, we have given our dogs much less TLC and they've been just fine. Sometimes I have to tell myself that to realize how well cared for and fortunate our pets are today. However, the Havanese was bred to be a companion dog. So compared to other breeds, it is emotionally more difficult and potentially emotionally unhealthy for them to be left alone for longer than like 5 hours, I think, most days. So it's easy to end this question quickly with just, Havanese might not be the right breed for you. I'm going to try to not go there because I do think there's ways to work around this. Also, the idea of leaving a Havanese alone for 8 hours a day, I just want to clarify, is not a potty break issue. They can hold it that long as adults. This is more of an emotional well-being issue for Havanese. So one of the things you can do is watch my video on separation anxiety and how we avoided that with Pistachio. We do have the luxury of working from home, but a lot of the tricks that we have in there for when we do leave the house, I think are highly applicable to anyone who's leaving their house more regularly, and they start to make it a less traumatizing experience for the dog. When you watch that video, skip the crating recommendations. You really should not be crating a dog for longer than 4 hours at a time. So if you're going to be gone 8 hours, no. Now, a few tricks that you can do to make this less stressful for both of you. 1, have somebody come over for like 30 minutes each day. If you have a trusted, retired neighbor who loves dogs, this is like the best excuse. But if somebody can just come in who can both let them out for a bathroom break and also just spend some time with your pup, do something interactive, maybe play with them, give them a puzzle toy or something, it will help. And I do believe that that could be enough to just get them through the next maybe 4 hours after that until you come home. Depending on how far away you work from your home, you could also take your lunches at home. I think they just need a little break in all of that isolation so that they don't spiral or become like literally depressed. And then lastly, this isn't an option for everyone. It does cost money, but doggy daycare is a thing. One of the cool things about doggy daycare is it, one, socializes your dog for you, and two, it means that when you come home and you're exhausted from your day and ready to just chill, they're also exhausted from their day and they're ready to just chill. They're not, all this bottled up energy has been released from their time playing with other dogs and people, and it means that you guys just get to completely relax together when you're home, and that's sort of nice. So those are my recommendations if you're in that situation. All right, do Havanese like water and swimming? Depends on the dog. We've had a few Havanese over my lifetime in my family. Both dogs I grew up with hate water. The only way you could get them in the water is literally if you pretended to drown. But since getting Pistachio, and my brother also has a chocolate Havanese, we have 2 brown dogs. They are not related, but they look similar. We find our chocolates love water. I don't know what it is. I don't know if this is actually unique to them being chocolates. But both of those dogs are so confident in water. We have taken them on hikes before with shallow water. We have a kiddie pool for Pistachio that will fill up in the hot summers and let her just sort of bob for toys in. And they enjoy it. It's a way to cool down, and I just think it's so fun, honestly. Pistachio also loves any sort of like hose or shower head. Literally when we come out of the shower, she's expecting us to put her into the tub so that she can lick the water around the perimeter of the tub. I don't know why she is the way that she is. But even though she's small, she is that dog that if you spray her with a hose, she just wants to guzzle it the whole time, and it's very endearing. What do you feed Pistachio? Okay, y'all, I get this comment a lot because I think Havanese are almost perfect, but it seems like most of them are just picky eaters or sensitive eaters, and it's hard to know what to give them for sustenance that's also healthy. So I'm not here to flex on y'all and say that our dog is a perfect eater. She is not, but let me just tell you what we feed her first of all. We feed our dog Purina 1 Plus, small breed adult formula. Promotes small dog health through a longer life expectancy. I'll put up a picture of it too. It has like lamb chunks in it, and Pistachio loves the lamb chunks much more than the kibble, so we often find that she eats all of the lamb chunks out, and then we'll return to the kibble if she's hungry enough. But we feed her 1 cup throughout the day. We'll do a 1/2 cup for breakfast, and then we do a 1/2 cup for dinner. And we have sort of found that if we give her like very small increments of food at a time, she's more likely to eat it all in one sitting. So sometimes we'll split those 1/2 cups up and do like a 1/4 cup in the early morning, 1/4 cup in the late morning, 1/4 cup in the early dinner, and 1/4 cup for second dinner. It's a whole thing. That's worked well for her. The other thing that helps is some sort of topper on her food, which I try not to do too often because I don't know. I don't want to like mess with her nutrition. But some of the toppers that we've used are like, I'll sprinkle some egg crusties in there if I've just had scrambled eggs, or like canned Parmesan cheese. We'll like shake a little bit of that in the food. Like anything that we treat her from our plates that goes into the kibble, she's more likely than to eat the rest of the kibble, and that does help. You can also try some like unsalted chicken stock and pour some of that in. We've done that before. Even better if you heat up the chicken stock before you pour it in there. Wow. If I had more time, I would probably be the dog mom that would like make my own farmer's dog food for my dog. There's lots of recipes out there for doing that. If you're not familiar with Farmer's Dog, it's like a food subscription service, and they make like very fresh frozen foods for your dog. And I'm sure Pistachio would love that. I also know Pistachio loves canned food from the time that she got diarrhea and was put on a canned food diet for a little bit, but these things are expensive and some of them take time, and it's just not realistic for everyone. So your dog will be okay on kibble. And also remember, like, your dog knows when they need to eat. As long as the food's available to them, I think that's enough. But you might find there's times where they're just not interested in eating very much. If there's a big change that has happened, if you're on vacation, if they're stressed, if they just got their shots, like, they just might not be eating a lot, and they know their limits. So don't freak out about it. Just make food available to them. And if your dog is going days without touching food, talk to your vet. All right, last question. Does Pistachio know you're pregnant? And what are you doing to prepare Pistachio for the baby? No, Pistachio does not know I'm pregnant. I hear all these cute stories of women in like early pregnancy where their dog knew before they knew and they just start acting more protective or maternal or something like that. No, Pistachio has only started to jump on my stomach even more like a springboard as it's gotten bigger. She's just completely blissfully ignorant of what's happening. She's even been on my stomach now a few times when the baby's kicked, and it's just like she has no idea. So I wish I had a cuter answer for that, but no, I don't think she knows. She's in for a shock. And as far as preparing her for the baby, we've done a few socialization things with children and our baby nephew to help her just become more familiar with like what are kids, how do kids move. Kids move differently than adults. It's important for her to see that. Our goal for her is to just sort of leave the baby alone and not be triggered by the baby, but they don't have to be besties. I think they might be besties because she loves our baby nephew, even though we sort of keep them separated because she's a licker. She just wants to lick his whole face. So we'll have to work on some of the licking, I'm sure, when the baby's here. But I think some of the more practical things that we've done recently is like changing her expectations for our schedule so that she is okay when we can't give her 100% of our attention. There was a long time when we would have a play in the morning and a play at night. She would expect that morning play as soon as she got out of her crate, and we have, over the last month, weaned her off of that morning play and are just asking her to spend time with us relaxing in the morning. We still pet her, she can sit on our lap, all that good stuff, but it is not structured playtime. And that's just because with the baby, we expect mornings to be much busier, and we want to set her up for realistic expectations. So that's all the questions. If you guys have more questions, leave them in the comments, and I'll do another video like this at some point. I'll be working on that command training video. You'll see that soon, hopefully. Hug your pups for me, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.